All right, hello. It's the one and only 5D Transformations. I'm here with a very special friend. This is my homie here, Rafi. Feel free to let him know a little bit about yourself, man.
What's going on, guys? My name is Rafi El Mansour. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and also longest time best friends with this guy right here.
Yeah.
So we were friends since, sixth grade?
Sixth grade, man.
And so we kind of grew up together. We kind of shaped each other's minds.
Oh, yeah.
So it was...
You put me on the actually MBTI. Some of the stuff I talk about MBTI on the channel. He was the one that actually introduced me to MBTI, like in 8th grade or something. He was... I don't know how you felt
a
about
while
that.
ago, yeah.
We need to do a story on that.
I think it was AP Psych in like 11th grade or something.
Oh, so it was a while. It wasn't even 8th grade. I thought it was
I don't know. Maybe it was 8th grade. Might have been before. Actually, I think it was before that.
I think it was 8th. Something.
Anyways,
yeah.
So I introduced it to him, and then he took off with it.
Yeah.
So now I go to him for advice.
There we go.
Sometimes I'll have a session with my clients, and literally I'm talking to a client. I'm like, you know who would be the best person for you to talk to right now? It would be Ajani. I was like, if you're cool with it, I can make a consult call in session, and if he picks up, then you can get a consult from him, but it'll just be part of our session, and they always take it. And so then sometimes you don't pick up, you're busy.
Oh man.
Other times we'll call and it's ringing on speaker, and then Johnny picks up. He's like, hello, and I'm like, yo, Johnny, I got a client here with me right now, and I'm here to do a consult if you have if you have a little bit of time.
Yeah, and those are so awesome. The person's always like, like wow. So if those ever come up again, let me know. I enjoy those. They're really fun, honestly. Just getting somebody that's just finding out, like, okay. That's cool being that person on the cut you can call. Like, oh, you just happen to have an MBTI specialist on hand.
Yeah.
So anyways, we wanted to talk about MBTI some more. And you were actually, before you asked me questions, because you're going to do a little bit of a Q&A, but you were bringing up something that was very interesting. Because we talk a lot, a lot about MBTI as well.
Yeah.
I throw ideas at you and stuff. What was the idea that you were kind of talking about? It's a very powerful idea.
Well, Ajani and I are both ENFPs. And it's we really, I think, love being ENFPs. It comes with its challenges, all ENFPs know. But I was really just kind of appreciating why I have such a good time with Ajani as another ENFP. And it's that both of us have FI as our second function. Mm-hmm. And so we're very good at being in tune with our own feelings and our own emotional states. And this is why they say ENFPs are really tied to values, because emotions actually reflect and represent our values, right? You're only going to have an emotion if it's something you care about, right? Mm-hmm. Whether a good or a bad emotion, or whichever one it is. And so we feel that, and then we also use our NE, our extroverted intuition, coupled with our introverted feeling. But we use the extroverted intuition to connect to the lives of other people. And so we're able to really empathize with them. So extroverted intuition is like empathy. Mm-hmm. And then FI is like your own emotional experience. And so then we're able to actually convey this. So the point I was telling Ajani is that ENFPs are very good transmitters. There's transmitting and receiving of even emotional energy. And because we can connect to our emotions, we're able to then transfer this outwardly. And other MBTI types like ENFJs or INFJs, ones that have extroverted feeling, they're better at feeling the emotions of others rather than really recognizing their own emotions. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so
big distinction right there.
So they're good receivers, while we're good transmitters.
Which is interesting, because with introverted feeling, you would think that you're the receiver, but that's the funny thing. If you notice, even with introverted thinking, people who have introverted thinking tend to have a hard time receiving like thoughts or thinking the way other people think.
Yeah.
They're less receptive to that. And they're more so focused on what they think. But they're very receptive to the feeling of others with that extroverted feeling. In our case, it's kind of like when it comes to our feeling, we're not as necessarily receptive to receiving emotions, because we're busy trying to manage what we're feeling.
Exactly. And this is why ENFPs are actually, we're good at like cognitive empathy, mm-hmm. but not as good as at emotional empathy. Yeah. We don't actually feel the direct emotions of others. And this is actually what's so beautiful about FE, is that you can almost just understand other people's states. You feel a whole different channel of communication.
I'm sure it's a different world for people who don't have those functions. I'm sure seeing through the eyes of the ENFP or INFPs, other types like that, is like would be crazy. Just like when I went through that stage where I was learning so much about extroverted feeling and understanding it. I ended up really tapping into extroverted feeling energy, and it was such a different form of emotion and feeling to deal with. I was like losing it almost.
This is why Ajani is like such an expert in this field. It's not just that he studies it, he learns it. He actually understands it. He can experience it. And so I really think there's something, I think God made you in a very unique way that like gives you the ability to then like expand your kind of consciousness and different ways of understanding how people experience it.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think that's dope, man. Because I've actually been in scenarios where I've tapped into functions and so much to the point where I started to experience them at levels that I think cognitively I wasn't supposed to. They call it the grip. Right?
You told me about
yeah,
this.
The grip is like, I don't know if they still use the word, but the grip is a word to describe when you go too much into your other functions that aren't your primary functions.
Wow.
And you what happens is when you go too far in the grip, a lot of the time you go into the grip when you're, when you're in a situation of stress. When you're in a scenario where your main four functions aren't being able to help solve the problem.
It's not enough.
So you're leaning to your unconscious functions, but they're not built to do what you're trying to have them do what your lead functions do. So instead of feeling how you normally feel, all right, I'm just going to go out there and tap in everyone else's feeling, and then you do that so long, but it will really drain you to the point where you start to go through a period where you can kind of lose it, or where you can really begin to get confused, really get out of touch. They really say the grip is like a dangerous space to be in.
Wow.
Because you're it's almost like disassociation.
Yeah. You're disassociating from reality.
Yeah.
As you know it. Right? Reality at the end of the day is just how we experience it.
Yeah.
And like that's what's crazy, like consciousness, right?
Yeah.
It's really, consciousness is such a crazy concept,
yeah,
right? Because we experience consciousness through just a handful of senses.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean the physical senses, right? That's like extroverted sensing.
Yes.
Right? Think of the different cognitive functions of MBTI as like different mediums of consciousness that we all have, and it's really interesting because each one of these functions is very rich in what it offers to the human experience.
It's a whole reality.
Yeah, it's a whole reality you're experiencing, and you have your sight, you have your sound, you have your five senses, right? That's one function.
Yeah.
But then you have just even your memory, right?
Yeah.
The experience of delving into memory.
That's introverted sensing.
Yeah, introverted sensing. How richly can you delve into it?
Yeah, you can't have one without the other, right? It's so unique. Extroverted sensing, the only reason why you have introverted sensing is because you have extroverted sensing. And these moments stuck with you. Strong, rich moments of extroverted sensing, whether good or bad, positive or negative, imprints a moment to where when you move forward in time, you can on a sensory level feel what was felt at that moment, which brings you back
which is a very advanced function. A lot of animals don't have this.
Yes.
A lot of basic animals, even like think about like a fly, or like even just like bacteria or something, right? Like it's just this whole idea of being able to go back to a previous state and then to use that to learn, right? And there's an adaptive kind of function to this.